What's good, ladies and gentlemen? I hope you are all well. So I've touched down at my mother's house and just going to spend some time with the family, check in with everyone and see if everyone is all cool. So I hope everyone is doing well. I want to do this video for you because I'm going to be doing a video for the channel later on. All right. And then I'll be updating you guys on the open from tonight. Okay. So this is where I am right now. If you recall, last night we had that short trade that I had opened, okay, and it was in this area right here that I opened the short, all right, and we've seen some decent movement to the downside. We've had a retrace and we could potentially be in line for a continuation down lower, all right. Remember that the goal was for me to start building 10 Bitcoin into the whole position on the idea that Bitcoin eventually ends up down here. That is my goal. I'm trying to see if they're going to try and test the 800 EMA, given with the volatility that is due this week. Now, this is what I've got to be careful of. If I see price actually make an aggressive move to the downside, okay, I'm not going to add to my position, okay? Because the idea is that I want to be able to take advantage of, if I'm going to try and put in 10 Bitcoin, all right, into this trade in terms of a leveraged position, all right? I have to be very careful about where I'm going to be taking my shot, in other words, as to when I decide to add to the trade. So if you remember in the projections video last night, we were talking about the idea of price moving up. After I had placed my order here, I'm expecting a retrace back up, and I'm anticipating that this retrace right here will start to falter and price will continue down, and that's where I will start adding shorts in and moving my entry from up here closer and closer to price. Okay, that's what the idea is to avoid making the move from here go too far into where price is. All right, I want to wait until price is down here, and then I can start putting some size, or slowly just start adding the size into it in smaller bets. Okay, so the further price is away from my entry, happy days. I have more time to manage my expectation of the trade. Okay. So this is where we are right now with that trade. So I started off, had my trade up in this zone right here. It was around about the 38,800 zone. That's when I opened the trade. It's in the video from last night in the projection stream video. And what I've done is I've just started to add 0.1 Bitcoin, just to slowly creep the position lower, closer and closer. All right. So that what I'm doing is I'm increasing the value. Every time it goes in my favor, the value of the trade increases. All right. Now that we've had this retrace back up, which is what we were talking about last night, this is where I believe Bitcoin may actually start to falter. Okay. Now, the area that price is at right now in relation to where my entry is, okay, I can say to myself, well, if Bitcoin is going to continue back up, what point would I say that I need to get out and just take whatever money is there? Okay, so if it goes beyond the 38,200 zone, all right, if the activity of price action is just showing the standard stop hunt rise madness, then I'll consider holding the trade. Okay, if it does look like it's got the strength to come back up into this range, then I will close the position, take whatever profit I've got up to about this point right here, and then say to myself, right, okay, I'm going to start again. And then start building my short, because I'm anticipating that in the bigger picture, Bitcoin is going to come down just that little bit more. So I'm testing and probing the game on the idea that if my aim is to try and get 10 Bitcoin as a position, okay, I really need to make sure that on the retraces that I'm only moving and adding to my position ever so much, a certain amount, so that I am not caught up in a situation where a stop hunt brings it so close to my entry, and then I'll be relying on price to pull him back sharply. Don't want to do that. Okay. So once I do see the activity from Bitcoin showing that sort of behavior, okay, and it starts to come down here, then I might add a little bit more to finalize it and get to about 2 to 3 Bitcoin as a position, and then see how Bitcoin behaves coming into the week. Okay, because I would have been able to grab the majority of the move and have enough liquidity in here to really generate a decent return on the position. The best thing for me, ladies and gentlemen, is for Bitcoin to just completely drop. for the position. Okay. And if it does drop aggressively, I'll be then in a position to say, okay, I might just put down 5 Bitcoin and place the 5 Bitcoin. And then the position itself, it might move quite aggressively towards price, but it would give enough room for price to actually go up and down, and it won't really affect my entry as much. Okay, so I'm just going to try my hardest to make sure that when price is rising up, okay, I need to be cautious of where it may actually attempt to go. Because you can see on the daily, they've recovered the full red vector candle right here. There's nothing else for me in sight. So I anticipate a continuation down lower to try and take out this area right here, which sits at the 800 EMA. Okay. Now, what could cause price to go down in that direction? Well, this is where the heads up comes in, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. The FOMC is declaring its results as such. It's going to not declare results. It's going to talk about the rate hikes. Okay. So check this out. We've got right here, there's a little bit of an article right there. Here we go. Wednesday, the 4th of May, 7 p.m. They're talking about a 50 base point hike. They're talking about a 75 base point hike. Okay. Speculation says that they already believe that 50 points has been absorbed in price. Okay. Which could have an effect on the dollar. If they do decide to hike the rates by 75 basis points, okay, then we may see a retrace in the dollar overall. Well, let's have a look at the dollar itself. The dollar index. Where are you? The dollar index. Wow, don't know why I haven't got it up there. Let me bring it here. DXY. Here we go. I mean, do I need to say anything? That stinks of a retrace. Absolute madness. We are expecting something to happen. So in the shorter term, we are anticipating that Bitcoin, or should I say dollar, is going to come down. Okay? Now we understand that Bitcoin's disparity between the S&P, NASDAQ, and the stock market overall. Well, in relation to dollar yen, we have found that whilst dollar yen's been moving up, Bitcoin has been moving down. Okay? So look at this. This is dollar yen. Okay? If I remove all of this, and this is where we are. It appears that we are at a climatic point in the charts. Yeah? Now let's just look at Bitcoin for a second and what we can understand about Bitcoin's behavior in relation to dollar yen. And we're going to pull that on the daily. All right? Look at this. This is dollar yen. And this is Bitcoin. Look at where it is. Bitcoin's trading lower. Yen is trading higher. So from the start of this move down here, Bitcoin had a little bit of a disparity and moved up. Yeah? Whilst yen was moving up, dollar yen was moving up at the same time. So sometimes they move together, sometimes they don't. Look, at this pullback of dollar yen, Bitcoin was forming this structure right here, around about the same time that the S&P was doing that same structure. As it pulled back, yen pulled back, but continued to move back up. Okay, and dollar and Bitcoin has completely dropped. Okay, now up until the FOMC statement, we may see price continue its move higher. Okay, Bitcoin may stabilize in this zone and probably try and come back up a little bit, or maybe even come down lower. All right, they may even smack price down even lower, come back up into this range to retrace it back down in time for the FOMC. Okay? This pullback up, how long will it be sustained for, is a different story. They're talking about there may be a short-term, they're calling it a fade, where price goes against the norm of what it's been doing. So you fade into the price. So it may drop, but then it may resume its move back up. Okay? It's a case of selling the news kind of story. Because people are going to be asking whether they're going to do it or not. Okay? Talk across the board is saying that it looks like it's going to be a hawkish sentiment. All right? So what do we mean by hawkish and dovish? So here's an example. Hawkish versus dovish. Okay? Here we go. Doves versus hawks. Hawk is the opposite of dove. Hawks are those individuals who believe that higher interest rates reduce inflation. The doves favor expansionary monetary policies, while hawks support tight monetary policies, unlike doves who favor quantitative easing. Hawks are generally against it. Okay? So a hawkish stance is that the central bank's top priority is to keep the inflation low. During such a phase, the central bank is willing to hike interest rates to curb money supply and thus reduce the demand. A hawkish policy also indicates tight monetary policy. So when you're hearing the words hawkish and dovish, okay, what's the impact of that? So is it good for stocks? Well, look, even though hawkish Fed is normally regarded negative for equity markets, history tells us that market returns following the rate tightening are good. A Deutsche Bank study of 13 rate hike cycles shows S&P delivering 7.7% average returns in the following year, in the year following the hike. Okay? Now listen to this. Let's make the assumption that once they do increase or hike the rates, let's assume that the S&P 500 is going to try and do a relief rally. Is it going to react to the FOMC in the sense where is price going to be dropping lower and lower up until that point? Or is it going to actually increase before that point for it to come back down as a reaction for it to come back up again? Okay? That's the sweet thing. That's what we're trying to establish right here. All right? So if we go over to the S&P 500 and have a look at what's been going on right there, we can say to ourselves, all right, tomorrow we're expecting a gap down, okay? Because price has been aggressively moving down lower, all right? Where could they end up? They could end up in this area here, maybe. They could trade lower into the market, into the Fed. And then when the Fed comes out, we see spiky behavior up and down, and then we'll see how they decide to follow through with it, okay? So Bitcoin could follow that move. It could follow price to the downside. Once the Fed news comes out, we will know exactly where we stand with everything across the board. All right? Now, in my point of view, in regards to me building this trade, okay, I have to do it very lightly because I only have, realistically, I have only got until Wednesday the 4th to really try and capitalize on this play. Could have opened it sooner, but it is what it is. So I've got 4 days until the news is announced. I've got 4 days to try and get into a situation and have at least 10 Bitcoin as a position built in on the basis that Bitcoin is going to continue down lower. If it doesn't, and we get to Wednesday, I'll then say, you know what, forget it. I'm closing my trade, take what I can and start again. I'm not married to the idea, I want to get 10 Bitcoin in, I have to get 10 Bitcoin in. No, that's not the point. The point is, I have a goal. I have a structure on how much commitment I'm prepared to take. I will not put that commitment until I see the price forming the structure of me anticipating price to be lower. Okay? Now, the problem that we've got, ladies and gentlemen, is we have everyone on a bank holiday. Asia is going to be on a bank holiday. So today, or should I say tomorrow, we've got China and Japan doing a bank holiday. Okay. Britain's got a bank holiday. The US hasn't got a bank holiday. All right. China, Japan again, bank holiday. All right, so if you click here, right there, Chinese banks will be closed in observance of Labor Day. Okay, Japanese banks will be closed in observance of Constitution Day. Okay, keep going down. We're only going to have the UK and the US from Tuesday and Wednesday. Asia won't react. Do you see why it's so important? We're not going to see Asia's response because they're going to be closed. All right? Thursday, they will be closed. Friday, they'll be opening. Okay? So it's going to be a very interesting week ahead. And on top of Friday, we have the non-farm employment change and the unemployment rate. It is going to be a plethora of news this week, ladies and gentlemen, and price action is going to be somewhat chaotic. It could even be muted to the sense where price might not actually go anywhere. Okay? If they're planning on moving Bitcoin back up, they are going to sink it first and recover these areas of liquidity. If they plan on moving Bitcoin down, they're going to move it back up first. All right? And we need to just try and establish which narrative are we going to roll with. All right? Does that make sense? I hope it does. Okay? Now, because we have the bank holiday and we're only going to be preparing for the New York session, we know that when the US trades by itself, it can do whatever it wants. We can see an influx of, nice stops to the high, stops to the low. They could be going crazy up until the Fed announcement. Okay? All we're looking for by the Fed, if Bitcoin is to go back up, we're waiting for the disparity between dollar and Bitcoin to change, and dollar drops across the board. We are looking for the Fed, in principle, to declare a 50-point base hike. We're looking for 50 points because that could hold the rally. It could prevent price or for the dollar from continuing up, start coming back down, which will give Bitcoin a chance to come back up. So up until that point, I'm short on Bitcoin. Remember, at any point, if Bitcoin does decide to come back up and start breaking into this structure right here, ladies and gentlemen, so if I bring it closer towards this area here, going to the 1 hour time frame, if I can see Bitcoin breaking up into this structure right here, that is when I'm going to start taking some profits from my entry that I had. Okay? Or even closer towards this point. Maybe I'm going to consider the psychological high as a point of interest where I'll say, you know what, I'm going to probably close my trade because I'm not really seeing the volatility coming in. Yes, it's a weekend, but I'm going to be waiting until tonight. And if tonight they make an attempt down lower to try and break down lower, I'll accept that. And then I'll start coordinating my positions to try and start to add some more capital into my trade to the downside. But this is a 4-day setup, okay? I've got 4 days in principle, which means that if I don't see Bitcoin move down lower so that I can justify adding to my position, then I'm going to close the position and start again. I will wait until Friday before I start considering any longer term trades with Bitcoin. Now, throughout the rest of the week, ladies and gentlemen, we've got to be very careful. We're going to be light on liquidity tomorrow. Okay, the US might initiate another one of its famous moves. Okay, we won't have Asia or Japan reacting to anything. Okay, we might get a lot of volatility in the Asian sessions, which could shake out a lot of people. So please proceed with caution on that basis. All right, in my honest opinion, I would wait until at least Friday. At least on Friday, guys. Because it's going to be a mad week. And it's going to be that mad, okay, that for the first time in a very long time, and I'm talking probably in a year, I'm using the word warning as a thumbnail. I never use that. I never put out words like that. You know? Never. But this is genuinely a warning. And it's a warning to all you guys and to the rest of the guys in the channel as well. Okay? We are going to see some mad behavior in the charts very soon. If you come to the charts and you can't make sense of direction, do not trade. Okay? Do not trade at all. Because you'll just end up giving it away. And then when the information comes out, that is when everything in principle would have been absorbed into price, and we will be able to work out what we can do from there. Okay? Look at gold. Gold's moved up and it snapped it all the way back down again. All right? If they're preparing gold, okay, to move up, they have to move it down. Yeah? They have to move it down because traders are going to be seeking gold at fear of any surprise by the Fed. Okay? We have to look at crude oil. That's coming down, but that may gap up given the tensions of what's going on in Ukraine and Russia. Inflation is a problem. This is when we expect the market, or should I say the Fed, to do something about it. All right? Coming into tonight's open, ladies and gentlemen, all right, the NASDAQ micros and the S&P micro futures will be open, okay? And I'll be able to work out exactly what we can get and expect from Bitcoin based on the overnight trading and all the orders that are passing through into the NASDAQ and, of course, the S&P, okay? One important factor we need to be aware of, ladies and gentlemen, is USDT is creeping up, okay? The problem we've got with USDT is this. If you look on the daily time frame, let's bring it up for you. Here we go. This is on the 17-hour chart. Let's go with the daily instead. Look at the daily. We have got wicks, 5.26%. So up until the point of the FOMC, depending on what they say, right? We might see USDT moving closer and closer towards this 5% range, which will be the recovery of this wick. They've already broken this structure right here, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Trading back into it, but trying to come back up from it. This is the range that we could anticipate traders who are running for safety for USDT. This is our range. Okay? So if price does end up in here, we are likely to see Bitcoin move down lower. From last night's video that I gave you, my S&P projection, Bitcoin already has moved down into that point. All right? So if we go down to the lower time frame on the 1 hour, we had projected from this point right here that Bitcoin would move down lower, and it made its way into that zone. So it broke that structure right there, retraced back up, and it's not really looking like it wants to come back up again. May even drift even lower down. Okay? But that's on the idea that the S&P follows suit. So starting into tomorrow's session, we could get a little bit of a recovery, you know? But we will know once the market opens, all right? Messari. Now listen, with Messari, okay, if everything across the board is taking a drop to the downside, we would naturally assume that that's going to be the same thing across altcoins. But that's not true, okay? Because you saw what happened to 1 inch, all right? 1 inch took that beautiful move to the upside, okay? Whilst Bitcoin was trading sideways, all right? Now it's dropped down, okay? And it looks like a little bit of a recovery is trying to come in, okay? GTC, trading up. Keeper DAO, doing pretty well. Controlled move to the downside. BAO, sort of okay. GRT, City, Frax, everything is down, okay? Except Ribbon. Ribbon's doing a good job of trying to come back up, so we might want to pay attention to Ribbon. Juno, taking a drop. CKB, taking the drop. HNT. Now, we know with Messari, we've got a few upgrades happening. All right? On this one right here, this is for comp. Where is it? Is it comp? Yes. Proposal follows to the proposal update low, which we saw last week. aims to implement the following changes to CUSD and DAI and W weighted Bitcoin 2, whatever. So it's talking about network changes and a release happening. Okay, now this started it started a few days ago, and the event date will happen on the 3rd. Okay, so that's when the release will happen. So are we going to see a little bit of movement in comp? Go back into that. Let's have a look if we've got comp in our list. No, we haven't got comp in there, so I'll be adding comp into that and look to see if we can exploit anything from that. And if we can't exploit anything to the upside, then we can exploit it to the downside. Okay, we've got this behavior right here where they're literally at the lowest point, and we would naturally assume a retrace back up. Everything could retrace back up today. Going into the start of the Monday, we could see it come back down. So a false move at the week beginning could actually happen this week. Okay, going into the grid view itself, ladies and gentlemen, compound is up there at the top. Gravity bridge chain, we saw that one. Event date in 9 hours. Okay, so there's going to be a governance vote for this one, but I didn't find anything in relation to a coin Gravity bridge. Yeah, nothing to load for charts wise. So not really interested in that one. Go to here. Yep. Hi. Carver. We know that Carver is going to be upgraded for the 10th of May. So we're going to be checking in with these coins later on, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. In my honest opinion, guys, I would tread very cautiously trading this week. Okay. It's going to be a crazy environment to be trading in. Where you would believe price is going to go up, it may not even go up. Where you think it's going to go down, it may not even go down. My trade, I'm taking the risk in looking to try and exploit further downside movement. That's the choice that I'm deciding to take. I'm just trying to show you the idea behind building a trade, developing a position, okay? So I hope that brings some insight to you, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, going into tonight, going into tomorrow, I'll have more information to give you guys as I'll be having the levels. They would have been established and we'll know exactly what to expect from that point. Okay, I will check in with you guys later on because I'm aiming to do the giveaway for the TradingView licenses. The way that's going to work, guys, I'm going to do it in 2 segments. I'm going to tell you how it's going to be done, and then I'm going to do the video and tell you what to do in that video. But my plan is the video that I post for you guys to participate in the actual giveaway. You have to comment in the video on the YouTube channel. Don't comment in the Patreon itself. You comment on the video in the channel because you're watching it from YouTube. And as it's an unlisted video, the comments can still be seen just by the guys who have access to the video, which is yourselves. All right. So you'll then have to put your, whatever it is I decide to be the word or the number so that you can participate in it. And then I can pull up a random YouTube picker, a comment, and then I'll be able to reveal the winner that way. It's just Patreon do not allow you to state a giveaway. All right. It's crazy, I know, but we'll be working around it in some way in the future as well. Okay. I hope you're well, and I hope you managed to get through yesterday's stuff. Sorry if it was so long, but I thought to myself, you know what? Let me just try this. And it seems like some of you have welcomed that. So let's see what happens next week. Okay, cool. I will check in with you guys later on. Mad love and respect to you all. Peace.